Today we're going to study M144, translated as SD 11.12. So this is from the 11th volume. Volume 11 started in 2005. So now it's gone through many revisions and editions. And this is my own journey in studying the suttas. And as I study the suttas myself, they become clearer. And I am so joyful to share this with you. It's a difficult sutta because it's talking about suicide, a monk killing himself under special circumstances. So here you see the title is Channovāda Sutta. Channovāda. Channa is the name of the monk. This Channa is different from the Buddha's charioteer, so different Channa, because Channa is quite a common name. And Vada means advice. Sutta is teaching, goes back to the Buddha. Advice to Channa M144. This is quite near to the end of the Majjhima collection. The Majjhima collection, as you know, has 152 suttas, so it's quite near the end. To show the importance of this sutta, it is also preserved in the Samyutta Nikaya. Notice here, S35.87. So you notice here I've highlighted the sutta numbers, so easy to remember. S Samyutta, chapter 35, Sutta 87. And there the title is Channa Sutta, simply Channa Sutta. And there are different Channa Suttas, so I put a prefix, Ovada Channa Sutta. The advice discourse to Channa, and the theme is suicide and Buddhism. Suicide has been discussed quite some time, for a lot of discussion on suicide and Buddhism. The rule is clear. The Buddha does not allow, the Vinaya does not allow suicide. Suicide is wrong, it's immoral, because we will be reborn. So it's not advised to do that. Yeah, so it's quite clear. The question now is this: in this, it's a special case here. You have this monk who's very sick, very ill, painfully ill, and it's like someone who's suffering today, and they ask for this termination of life. So it's not an easy decision, but this monk is very brave. The question is this, that he wants to end his life as an arhat, so he's never reborn. So there's a debate here. Would an arhat kill himself? Or did he die as an arhat and is never reborn? So it's a technical situation, and it's also quite tricky, but the sutta here gives us some clear guidelines on what happened in this special case. So please remember, this sutta, Channovāda Sutta, is not affirming or promoting suicide. It's a record of a very brave action by a certain monk who is not afraid of death in the face of this challenge. And he reaped the harvest of arhathood as a result. So this is the story. We're going to find out what happened. So please remember this important understanding, significance. This sutta does not promote suicide. It's just talking about this special case. In fact, there are only a couple of stories like this. The other one is for another monk, as mentioned in the sutta. You can look up. There's a monk called Godika. Of course, there was a case of attempted suicide, Wakari, but the Buddha saved him. So make sure this teaching is read in context. All right, let's look at the translation now. Page 241. 241. Okay, here we are. Channovāda Sutta, the advice to Channa, M144, as well as S35.87. Thus have I heard at one time the Blessed One was staying in the squirrel's feeding ground in a bamboo grove near Rajgarh. So it's a beautiful place. There's lots of squirrels there. And at that time, the Venerable Sāriputta, the Venerable Mahā Cunda, and the Venerable Channa were residing on Mount Vulture Peak nearby, right? So the Buddha is in the background, but here we have these three monks. Actually, you have two monks, Sāriputta and Mahā Cunda. I think they are brothers, these two monks. And these two monks going to visit this very sick monk, Channa, on Mount Vulture Peak. At that time, the Venerable Channa was painfully ill, gravely sick. Then when it was evening, the Venerable Sāriputta emerged from his retreat and went to the Venerable Mahā Cunda. Having gone up to the Venerable Mahā Cunda, he said this, "Also, brother Cunda, come, let us go to the Venerable Channa and ask after his illness. Let's see how he is." No? So here, by the way, you see this number, this slanting number S456. So this is the paging in the Samyutta Pali, Samyutta Volume 4, page 56. Okay, I think this Volume 4, there is a new second edition available. This is the only volume available, which is revised, very nicely done. Whereas this one, 256, this is the Majjhima page 263. This is Volume 3, page 263. So here we have Sāriputta inviting Mahā Cunda to go and visit Channa to see how he is. So here you see monks that they care for each other and they kind of visit each other, take care of each other. Okay, let's go further down. Yes, Savuso. The Venerable Mahā Cunda replied to the Venerable Sāriputta. Then the Venerable Sāriputta and Venerable Mahā Cunda went up to the Venerable Channa and exchanged greetings with him. When this greeting was concluded, they sat down at one side. Sitting thus at one side, the Venerable Sāriputta said to the Venerable Channa this, "How are you, Venerable Channa? I hope you are bearing up and getting better. I hope that your pains are subsiding, that their subsiding is evident, not their rising." Right? So this is what's called stock message. Basically, today we will say, "How are you? How are you feeling?" And now here we have this like a story narrative style. So although the name is not given, number 7, we know now Channa replies, "Avuso Sāriputta, I cannot bear it. I'm not getting better. My pains are not subsiding, but rising. Their rising is evident, not their subsiding." So he is saying he's really in pain. "Avuso Sāriputta, it is as if winds are cutting through my head, like a strong man cleaving it open with a sharp knife." So this is a very graphic description of the kind of pain he's feeling. "Avuso Sāriputta, I cannot bear it. I'm not getting better. My pains are not subsiding, but rising. Their rising is evident, not their subsiding." So this refrain repeats itself. Remember, this is an oral tradition, so it's like a story being told to the monks, and they don't have books, they listen. Okay, of course, nowadays we can read. So I use this convention where, okay, I show the repetitions in italics. 9. Avuso Sāriputta, it is as if violent pains are crushing my head, as if a strong man were tightening a strong leather strap around my head like a headband. So you can imagine the sharp pain, crushing pain. So he says he cannot bear it. And then 10, he continues his description. "Avuso Sāriputta, it is as if violent winds are rending my belly, as if a skilled butcher or his apprentice were to carve up a cow's belly with a sharp butcher's knife." Of course, here this is just a metaphor, okay? Because the cow is already dead anyway. So here, basically, is trying to help us imagine the kind of pain that this Channa is feeling. So this is a sharp winds going through the belly, and it's unbearable, according to Channa. 11. Also, it is as if violent pains were burning up my body. Burning up the body means he has fever. Okay, as if two strong men were to seize a weaker man by both arms and burn and roast him over a pit of burning coal. So you can imagine this kind of burning pain, feeling very warm and hot. So it's quite a terrible feeling. No? Okay, let's go now for the brackets 5 below. Right, so again, the whole verse on suffering repeats itself. You say you cannot bear it, it's very painful. Now, number 12, this is the highlight. This is the dramatic part. Huh? I will use a knife, also Sāriputta. I have no desire to live. Now, this phrase, I will use a knife, is a euphemism. It means he would kill himself. He used a knife to cut his throat. So you can imagine this quite a dramatic development. You know? Now, of course, for most of us, we say, wow, this is quite a difficult story. And we have people in Japan, on the other hand, they look at it and say, oh, this monk's very brave, and they take this as a good example, you know. So those kamikaze monks and pilots and so on, there was a time when they used this kind of teaching, right, for political reasons. But the context is different here. The context is just showing that this monk is suffering and that suicide is not something easy, and the Buddha did not encourage it. Okay, right. So this is the first part. We see this Channa talking about his pain, his suffering, and he's not getting well, and he can't bear it, and he feels that he wants to end his life because the pain is really unbearable. Of course, you can imagine if this is a modern time, you have modern medicine and so on. Of course, things might be a little different, but this is the Buddha's time, and this monk is by himself. Now let's see what happens next. Okay, so Sāriputta, of course, is not going to sit quietly. He responds. He pleads with Channa. 13. So Sāriputta says, okay, here I put bracket Sāriputta as a tag just to help us know that it is Sāriputta who's talking. Let the Venerable Channa not use the knife. See, here we can see Sāriputta does not approve of suicide. This is quite natural, quite obvious, right? Let the Venerable Channa live. We wish the Venerable Channa to live. Notice here we have this arhat, Sāriputta, actually telling this Channa, say, we wish you to live. We want you to live. This is the compassion of a great arhat. Don't kill yourself. Live. Now comes this really beautiful part to show the kind of compassionate monk that Sāriputta is. Humble monk. If the Venerable Channa lacks suitable food, notice it says, I will go in search of suitable food for the Venerable Channa. See, that here is where a monk would not ask for special food for himself unless he's sick and he's told to eat special kind of food. But here he says, if you need proper food, I will look for it and go to some devotees who are strong supporters, and bring the food to you. If the Venerable Channa lacks suitable medicine, I will go in search of suitable medicine for the Venerable Channa. See how compassionate he is. No? If the Venerable Channa lacks a proper attendant, if you need someone to take care of you, I will attend to the Venerable Channa. You see, he doesn't say, I will get someone to take care of you. He says, I will take care of you. Great compassion, right? Let the Venerable Channa not use a knife. let the Channa live. So I want you to just imagine the kind of person who says this word. So we're talking about an arhat with great compassion. So it saddens me when you have some non-Theravada, non-Buddhists who say, oh, these arhats have no feeling, they don't care for others. It's not true. You can see here very clearly from this sutta, this Sāriputta, the chief of the head, the right-hand monk of the Buddha, showing so much compassion, so much humility. It's a beautiful sutta in that sense. Okay, so now 14, we have Channa replying. I also Sāriputta. It is not that I lack suitable food, not that I lack suitable medicine, not that I lack a proper attendant, but rather I also Sāriputta. Long have I waited upon or honored the teacher in a satisfactory or pleasing manner, not otherwise. For it is proper for the disciple to wait upon the teacher in a satisfactory manner, not otherwise. Also, please remember this. It is without blame that the monk Channa will use the knife. Okay, this one is quite a tricky passage. I will try my best to give it a suitable interpretation. Okay, my understanding is, of course, the first sentence is quite clear. So Channa says, I have no problem with food and medicine and attendant. But here he says he had been taking care of the Buddha, and it is the duty of a student to do so. And he felt honored, he felt good about this. But now he can't do this. So, and he's very sick. So what's the point of living when he can't do his duty and then he's not, and he's in great pain, right? So he says, I've done nothing wrong yet, right? I've done nothing wrong. There's nothing to blame me for. So it's not because sometimes people, they've done something wrong, they feel bad about it, so they want to end their life. So in this case, he's just saying, well, that's not it. Okay, it is without blame. I will use the knife. I will kill myself. He says. Of course, we know from the story, it is his pain. He's not able to bear that great pain. Okay. All right. Let's see now. How does Sariputta respond? Okay. Next section. So Sariputta continues. Yeah. Further down, please. Right. 15, section 15, I think. Yes. So Sariputta says, if the Venerable Channa grants us leave to do so, we would like to question the Venerable Channa regarding some point to clarify a problem. So here, now the Buddha, Sariputta rather, as you know, he's a great teacher himself. So he just wants to make sure that Channa is thinking right, that he has the mind, the teaching, the correct teaching in mind, that he is not thinking about all this suicide thing because he has the wrong view, right? So he says, please give us permission. We're going to ask you some questions. So Channa replies, ask also. Hearing it, I will know, right? And then, so this is Sariputta's teaching on the 18 elements. So this is a reflection. And this is the section for us, reaching to us today. Avuso Channa, do you regard the eye consciousness, and states cognizable through eye consciousness thus? This is mine, this I am, this is myself. So this is the famous question. So here, basically, the Sariputta is trying to find out whether Channa is attached to any part of his body or to his whole body. And because of that, there is the pain and he cannot go on. He says, okay, Do you see the I as the self? Here you have what I call the triangle of experience. No? I, consciousness, and state cognizable with the I consciousness. So you have the I, and you have the object, and the consciousness, right? So these three go together. You have contact. You have that experience. So we see something and you say, "Oh, okay, this is me. I like this, so this is me. I mean, this is my experience. I, me, mine." Okay, so one of those words showing you connect with this kind of idea. Also, Channa, do you regard the ear consciousness, and states cognizable through ear consciousness? Thus, this is mine, this I am, this is myself. Also, Channa, do you regard the nose consciousness, and states cognizable through nose consciousness? Thus, this is mine, this I am, this is mine, right? So once again, notice the nose is the faculty, the sense faculty, and then you have the sense object, state cognizable. Cognizable can, simpler word is known through nose consciousness. And then you have the consciousness itself, right? Sense, object, consciousness. Here, this state cognizable is put last because it arises through nose consciousness. So consciousness is put second, yeah, just a matter of psychological sequence. Oh, also, Channa, do you regard the tongue consciousness and states cognizable through tongue consciousness? Thus, this is mine, this I am, this is myself. Right here, of course, it'd be food, taste. Also, Channa, do you regard the body consciousness, and states cognizable through body consciousness? Thus, this is mine, this I am, this is myself. This is directly related to Channa because he feels pain. So the pain comes under this category. Also, Channa, do you regard the mind consciousness, and states cognizable through mind consciousness? Thus, this is mine, this I am, this is myself. Okay, what about your thoughts? Do you see them as the self? Right? So this is a basic teaching. Remember, this is the kind of teaching that brought awakening to the first 5 months. Okay. All right. So that is Sariputta's question. So now we have Channa's reply. Channa talks about his practice. Brackets 1. Also, Sāriputta, I regard the I consciousness, and states cognizable through the I consciousness. Thus, this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. So we see here quite clearly, Channa knows what he's talking about. Channa is practicing, and he does not have the self-view. He says, this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself, right? So it's quite clear Channa is practicing. Also, Sāriputta, I regard the ear consciousness, and states cognizable, states known through ear consciousness. Thus, this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Now let's just stop a moment. What does this mean? Okay, this means you hear sound. Okay, you hear sound, let's say angry sound, people fighting. You don't own it, you say, okay, this is not mine, this I am not, it's not myself. In other words, I'm not going to own this. Another way of saying it is, I'm letting it go. I'm letting it go. Okay? This is important because at that time when the sound impacts your ear, you don't want to note it, because if you say otherwise, you get angry. You say, these people are terrible, they're doing this, doing that. Then you are recording it. See? Then you are recording this unhappy state in your mind, and it's going to remain there. So this is the issue. So here, by saying this, I'm letting go of this, it's not mine, you don't record it. So the next time you find there's no memory of it, it doesn't trouble you. Okay, that's the practice here. This is the meaning of not owning the pain. You just let it go. Of course, there are times when it's not that simple, because it can be very noisy. Some situation can be very noisy, or something can really hurt you very much, and it kind of you feel that pain, you feel that suffering. So here again, you try to not to own it. In other words, do not allow greed, hate, or delusion to arise. Just take it as it is, letting it go. And at the same time, you try to move away from that situation. That way, you will not remember it, and it will not be part of your memory, and that's going to affect the quality of your life. So that's how you practice non-self towards such situation. Same thing with seeing also. We don't have to see things that trouble us, for example. Yeah. So this is in terms of practice, in terms of commentary. So this is how you do it. All right. And then we come to number 3. Also, Sāriputta, I regard the nose. Remember when you said the nose is about the nose faculty. It's not the physical nose, but the nose as a functioning organ, nose consciousness, and states cognizable to nose consciousness. Thus, this is not mine, this I'm not, this is not myself. Right? You hear smell, very tempting smell, the food you like. So, okay, I'm letting it go. Or maybe a smell you don't like, durian smell. Some Westerners might not like durian smell. Okay, I'm letting this go, something like that. Okay. All right, next, 4, brackets 4, put it down. Okay, I was so Sāriputta. I regard the tongue consciousness, and states cognizable through the tongue consciousness. Thus, this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself, right? So here again, same thing, all right? Sometimes we may not like certain kind of food. So this where it is when you say, I don't like this or I hate this, and that's when the problem arises. So in other words, just take it like that. Okay, this is food. You take it, and then of course the taste may not be to your liking. So you go on like that. You try your best, but it doesn't mean you force yourself. But then you have some other issues. So the idea here is not to direct negative thoughts towards it. Oh, there's nothing wrong in saying, okay, you're not a monk, so you can say, okay, I want this food or that food. And again, the idea is not to overdo it, is to be aware of the nature of food, aware of nature of taste. 5, also Sāriputta, I regard the body consciousness, and states cognizable through body consciousness. Thus, this is not mine, this I'm not, this is not myself. So here, this one's the feeling, maybe the temperature, maybe the touch of someone. So here again, you feel comfortable, and then you take it like this with metta, but you don't own it. You don't crave for it. You feel good, but you don't crave for it. So you don't own it. You take it as it comes, you let it go in time. Number 6 is, of course, regarding thoughts. Also, Sāriputta, I regard the mind consciousness, and states cognizable through mind consciousness. Thus, this is not mine, this I'm not, this is not myself. All right, now 1 to 5 are physical senses. They are the senses, they're sense-based experiences. Whereas number 6 is special, is a mental experience. Then it is minding. 1 to 5 are sensing, number 6 is minding. So normally, technically rather, we talk of 1 to 5, that is seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, as perception. Whereas the number 6 is conception, if you like, conception, imagination, thinking. Yeah, so it's a kind of it happens in the mind. Of course, there is a part of the mind that's behind each of the 5 senses also. So that's another set of experiences. I have discussed this sense level, mind level in volume 60F on this quite complicated and interesting psychological situation, the nature of the mind. And imagine even in the Buddha's time, he already talked about all these very profound subjects which are of interest. Modern psychologists are discovering only today. All right. Okay, it's nearly 9 o'clock, so I'm going to stop here. Okay, right, let's continue. Section 18. This is an important part where we see Sāriputta continues with his questioning. This time, he wants to make sure that Channa is having right view. Or another reason in our discussion is to find out the level of attainment that Channa has reached. And this part is very important. It's key to what will happen next. 18. Sariputta's questions on non-self. Also, Channa, what have you seen and directly known in the eye consciousness, and states cognizable through eye consciousness, that you regard them thus? This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Okay, this is the arhat's way of saying, how do you know this? How do you understand this? Also, Channa, what have you seen and directly known in the ear consciousness, and states cognizable to ear consciousness, that you regard them thus? This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Also, Channa, what have you seen and directly known in the nose consciousness, and states cognizable to nose consciousness, that you regard them thus? This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Now notice the language here. The verb seen, known directly, are used throughout. So obviously, see here, I mean, you don't see with the nose, right? So see here means understand, to kind of learn, okay? And directly known through the nose. 4. Also, Channa, what have you seen? What have and directly known in the tongue consciousness, and states cognizable to tongue consciousness, that you regard them thus? This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. 5. Also, Channa, what have you seen and directly known in the body consciousness, and states cognizable through body consciousness, that you regard them thus? This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. So here, how do you know this is not self? This is what Sāriputta is asking. Also, Channa, what have you seen and directly known in the mind consciousness, and states cognizable through mind consciousness, that you regard them thus? This is not mine, this I'm not, this is not myself. And this answer is key to this Sutta 19, Channa's practice. Also, Sāriputta, it is true seeing and directly knowing cessation in the eye consciousness, and states cognizable to eye consciousness, that I regard them thus. This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. So here's the keyword: cessation, ending. Now, what does this mean? Here again, let me try to explain from my understanding. I see the cessation as like the third noble truth, ending of suffering. So here, Channa is explaining, he does not see any of these sense experiences with greed, hatred, or delusion. So he's not attached to them. He neither likes them nor dislikes them. He sees them as they are arising, falling. And he sees them as anicca, impermanence, suffering, dukkha, and not self. In the commentaries, the commentator wonder if Channa had made a mistake and thought that he's already an arhat. So he doesn't want to fall from that stage. I think that statement is not warranted, because the simple point is this: an arhat with all his wisdom and knowledge will not want to kill himself. So obviously at this stage, Channa has not attained arhathood. Although he understands the nature of cessation, maybe he has attained non-returning, perhaps. Okay, so he's able to attain cessation, if we're talking about cessation of feeling and perception. Then again, he could have overcome pain if he had that kind of meditation. I mean, he could get into the meditations. But of course, this is the part we don't know. We're arguing from silence. The point remains that even at this stage, Channa has some level of deep meditation, some level of understanding the Dhamma. He's already on the path, at least stream winner. So he's able to go into deep meditation and attain cessation. All right. And then he kills himself and he dies in that state. That's what, in my understanding from reading the sutta, that's what happens. I'm saying this first because this point is important, and I'm going to repeat this point a little later. All right. So this is the meaning of cessation. So here, let me paraphrase. So in brackets 1, Channa tells Sāriputta, I understand the I, object, and consciousness as through cessation, through ending of suffering. In that sense, I don't see the self in it. So what he's saying is he's able to attain cessation. That's one way to understand it. Now I'll just read through the rest to complete the reflection. Brackets 2. Avuso Sāriputta, it is true, seeing and directly knowing cessation in the ear consciousness, and states cognizable through ear consciousness that I regard them thus. This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Also Sāriputta, it is true, seeing and directly knowing cessation in the nose consciousness, and states cognizable through nose consciousness that I regard them thus. This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Then further down, go down some more. So, and then we come to the tongue, right? So same thing. Channa says, in terms of taste also, I've attained cessation. I understand them as not self. And the nature of the body, feelings, I do not regard them as self. And also thoughts, the mind consciousness, and states, the objects that arise with the mind. I do not see them as self, because I have attained cessation. Okay, all right, so now Mahā Cunda takes his turn. Mahā Cunda gives his advice to Channa. Section 20. When this was said, the Venerable Mahā Cunda said this to the Venerable Channa. Therefore, Avuso Channa, this teaching of the Blessed One should be constantly, or should be well considered, should reflect very carefully. Now, this teaching by Mahā Cunda is quite a deep, important one. It's also found in another sutta. Huh? Let me see. I look at 88. I think it's not mistaken, it's the Udana 81. Yes, okay. This verse is very nice. See, it says, Nisitasa chalitang, anisitasa chalitang nati, chalite asati pasadi, pasadiya sati nati nahoti, natiya asati agati gati nahoti, agati gatiya asati, chutu papato nahoti, agati gatiya asati, chutu papato nahoti, chutu pate asati, nevida nafurang, na ubayang antarena, e sewanto dukasati. Right, so you can hear there's a lot of rhyming in it, right? So it translates as follows. There is trembling in one who is dependent. Dependent means caught up in wanting pleasurable things and pushing away things that they don't like. There is no trembling in one who is independent, whose mind is free. When there is no trembling, there is tranquility. Right? So when the mind is unshaken, when the mind is not controlled by outside things, there is inner peace. When there is tranquility, inner peace, there is no inclination. The mind does not run here, run there. When there's no inclination, there's neither coming nor going, doing this, doing that, becoming this, becoming that. When there is neither coming nor going, there is neither dying nor arising, no rising, no falling. When there is neither coming nor going, there's neither dying or rising. Looks like there's a repetition here. Huh? When there is neither dying nor rising, okay, this is a new one. There's neither here nor beyond, right? So no rebirth, no here, no beyond. No dying, no arising, no death, no rebirth. So no here, this life or future life. No in between the two of them, right? Or caught in between the intermediate state. This is the end of suffering. Right, so this is a deep teaching which Mahā Cunda gives to Channa, right? So the teaching ends here. Let's see what happens after this. Let's go down a bit more. Right, 21. Then when the Venerable Sāriputta and Mahā Cunda had advised the Venerable Channa thus, they rose from their seats and departed. Then soon after the Venerable Sāriputta and Mahā Cunda had gone, the Venerable Channa used the knife. Right, so this is the third part. Huh? You find here, this is where Channa kills himself. Okay, now we come to now the Buddha comes in, 23. Then the Venerable Sāriputta approached the Blessed One, and having approached him, paid him homage, and then sat down at one side. Seated thus at one side, the Venerable Sāriputta said this, Bhante, the Venerable Channa has used a knife. Right, so he reports to the Buddha saying that Channa has died, he's killed himself. What is his destination? What is his cause? What is his future cause? In other words, here Sāriputta is asking the Buddha, what is the spiritual state of Channa? Sāriputta, didn't the monk Channa declare to you his blamelessness? Now notice here the Buddha asks a question, you know. The Buddha is telling Sāriputta, you should know, right? Because Channa says he's blameless. So here is where you see the Buddha is supportive of Channa. That he knows Channa is a true practitioner. Channa has taken care of him before. So he says, you know, Channa has declared his blamelessness. He has done nothing wrong. Yes, it's like he has confessed, okay, you know, I'm doing this not because of anything that I've done wrong. It's because this is the right thing for me to do. All right. Now, Sāriputta has some doubts about He's wondering about Channa, whether he's worried, or maybe he's still not developed, or there's some part of him still needs cultivation. So he asked the Buddha, 25, Bhante, there is a Vaji village called Pubajira. There the Venerable Channa had friendly families, close ties, approachable families as his supporters. Right, so he was wondering whether Channa is attached to these lay people or not. But here the Buddha kind of like gives in a good word to us today about Channa. True, Sāriputta, the monk Channa had friendly families, close ties, approachable families, Upawajakula, as supporters. But, notice it's a but there, it says, but Sāriputta, I do not say he was blameworthy on that account, right? So there's nothing wrong with that account. So he's not attached to families. In other words, Sāriputta, when one lays down the body and takes up a new one, then I say one is blameworthy. Now notice this part is very important. The Buddha says that suicide is wrong. If this person kills himself, then he is reborn. That's blameworthy, because you'll be caught up, and that new rebirth is not going to be a good one. Okay? So remember this, because here I have italicized it because it's important, not because it's a repetition, but because it is important. Right? Sāriputta, when one lays down the body and takes up a new one, then I say one is blameworthy. But this is not the case of Channa. Next section, we're going to come to the end already. Okay, go down. Right. So 27, the Buddha speaks, this did not happen with the monk Channa. The monk Channa used the knife blamelessly. Anupavaja. Just remember this, Sāriputta. So notice here, the Buddha himself says, Channa died a blameless death. So once again, let me just briefly state what happened. So here we see this Channa, he'd been struggling, with his pain, and he could not attain arhathood. I don't think it's right to say he's already an arhat and is suffering pain, because if he was an arhat, he wouldn't need to kill himself, right? He could have used his powers to overcome the pain, for example. But here, he felt that he wants to get into the state and then attain arhathood there. So he goes into meditation, right? And this is where the commentary again speculates a bit and tells us that Channa cuts his throat, coming deep in meditation. In other words, he goes into jhana, he comes out of it, and he cuts his throat. And then he feels the pain. Then he realizes that he's not an arhat, and he goes into the state of cessation, right? He at once does that, and then he dies an arhat. So this is the commentary's explanation. I think we can use our imagination a bit here, basically saying that he goes into deep meditation, and then he clears his mind, he has attained cessation, and if he dies in cessation, of course, he won't come back. There's no more rebirth. The cessation of feeling and perception, right? So he dies an arhat. It's a brilliant way to go, in the sense that he will not be reborn. So we can't blame him after that, because there's no one to be blamed. There's no more Channa, right? He's awakened. He's in nirvana. So that's why the Buddha says Channa is blameless. This is what the Blessed One said, satisfied. The Venerable Sāriputta rejoiced in the Blessed One's word. Sadhu. Okay, now we have a bit of time for half an hour for questions.
Okay, thank you, Piya, for the teaching. Now we have our session, Q&A. Sister Isim, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Ratna. Thank you, Brother Piya, for the teaching.
Yes.
Yeah, at the moment, there's no question in the chat box.
All right.
Any brother and sister would like to ask question, you can unmute yourself. Thank you. Brother Piya, there is question from Joanne Wang.
Okay.
Why he is blameless despite committing suicide?
Why is he sorry?
Why he is blameless despite committing suicide?
Well, he's already not around. He's already there's no more Channa. So how can we blame him? See, remember towards the end of the sutta, the Buddha says, if this person lays down his life, if he kills himself, but he's reborn, then that is blame. That is running away from this life because he's still reborn. But here, someone kills himself. He's not reborn anymore. So who is there to be blamed? It's impossible to blame anyone. You see, I mean, logically and spiritually, there's no one, literally no one to be blamed. It's just a technical point. Did you get it? Okay. So just read the last part and reflect on it, yeah? I don't know whether I made any notes on that, why Channa is blameless towards the end. You can look through the notes. Okay. If you're not clear about the answer, you can ask again to see what is it, what doubt is troubling you. This answering Dhamma question is quite tricky. Recently, somebody complained. He says he was attending a talk by some forest monk, and he was asking some deep question, and he got scolded by the monk and a nun, saying he thinks too much and should not ask such questions. So he was quite discouraged. It's quite difficult answering questions because sometimes we don't know, and we just don't want to admit we don't know. That's one problem. And the other thing is sometimes you think you know, but the questioner is not convinced. And sometimes you think you're given the right answer, but the questioner doesn't understand. So there are lots of issues involved here. So it goes two ways. In other words, we have to investigate for ourselves also. And sometimes even the best answers may not be satisfactory. I mean, it may sound all right at this point, very good this time. But later, when you yourself understand the teaching, you say, oh, there's a deeper understanding. And this goes on, I've gone through many teachers and realized this myself. I mean, there's nothing wrong with those teachers. They are telling you the best they know in all their strengths and weaknesses. So we're thankful to them. And we discover for ourselves, we learn for ourselves. So it's okay not to know certain things at this stage, but just keep that in mind, keep on searching, reflecting, and then one day you wake up and say, oh, now I understand, right? So reflect on this answer, reflect on the section of the sutta on Channa, and see where you go from there. And if you have some more helpful questions, I will try to answer them.
Thank you, Brother Piya. There's a follow-up question from Joanne Wang. Is this his last rebirth, or he attained full enlightenment with no more rebirth?
Oh, I stated Channa already fully enlightened, arhat, no more rebirth. Very clear, right? Towards the end. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Brother Piya. There's no more question at the moment.
So once again, remember, this sutta is not that it's all right to kill yourself. The Buddha is not talking about that. He's talking about the special case of Channa, where he's in great pain, and he kills himself at a strategic moment. In other words, he's not reborn. This one of those rare occasions when life ended, it does not arise again. Suicide is not advisable because you cannot end life with suicide. That's why it is wrong. You will come back. You will still be reborn. All right. So in the case of Channa, he's no more reborn. He's totally enlightened. He's an arhat. So there's no one to blame.
Piya, I have a question. What about euthanasia?
Oh, euthanasia is a very tough topic. No? The basic idea is that Buddhism, if you follow the principles of early Buddhism, we would not agree to it. We say the Buddhist answer is very clear. Life is precious. We should not kill someone else. This is the Buddhist statement. Okay. In other words, there are some situations where the Buddhists will have nothing to do with that situation. Say, okay, we can't make a stand here. Or rather, our stand is very clear. Life is precious, right? So this is called the ideal. Buddhism has to stand up for this ideal. If the early Buddhists say, oh, it's okay, you know, certain circumstances, there's no more an ideal. Now, this Bhikkhu Bodhi comes to be of trouble with this statement. So he's a monk, and speaking as a monk, he was reported to have said something about, you know, killing bad guys is okay. In fact, you have this problem in Thailand. A couple of monks said the same thing, that the communists are not human, you can kill them. That kind of statement is not for a monk to say. It's terrible when a monk says that. In fact, if you follow the Vinaya rules strictly, just by saying that, they have committed that really the grave offense. You know, they've fallen from the state of a monk, because a monk promotes suicide. So you have to be very careful. Sometimes you have these great scholar monks, but they miss this vital point, and they say that it's okay to kill. Right? So we just say we can't participate in this. We cannot agree with this. Right? So what the family, the doctors, and the person himself decide, they are doing it on their own, okay, against Buddhist principles. So we don't control the world like the Catholic Church or whatever. So this is something they decide on their own. It's nothing to do with us. We say no, we're very clear about it. So this is the way we answer things. Okay, this is called in principle. All right. I mean, there are moral issues there. If you like make it a law, even the person who decides, the person who signs a certificate and say, okay, you can euthanize this person, you can kill this person, it can be a very dangerous person, you know, right? I mean, he could be doing it to the wrong person, for example. Of course, there are cases where we can say, okay, you know, this person is really sick, really painful. And they can even quote the case of Channa as an example. Say, look, Channa was suffering great pain, and then he took his own life. So therefore, you know, you can use this argument for euthanasia. They might speak that way if they are really brilliant in logic. And that's up to them, as I said, that's up to them. But I wouldn't think that way. So there are some things you got to think for yourself. Okay. Is there anyone here who
Thank you,
thinks
Brother
that,
Piya.
yeah, I mean, is there anyone here who can think that maybe there is a brilliant or clever way out of this argument? If you can, just please share.
The next question from Sister Pamuja, Brother Piya.
Okay.
Yes, okay, to Teacher Piya. How does one practice 7 factors of enlightenment simultaneously, or read the 5 hindrances first?
Well, all practices are gradual. You know, you go step by step. You start with mindfulness. You build up your mindfulness, then you are focused. When you're focused, you feel calm, and then happiness arises. It's the awakening factor. You have joy. The joy is very important. The joy leads to calmness, inner calm, and then that leads to concentration and so on. So you go step by step. Okay, these formulas all they describe stages in our practice. Of course, some of them overlap. Okay, so this is where these words are helpful for us to describe what happens when we practice. So we look at what formula help describe what we're thinking about and when we use that. And very often you see them overlapping. You find that I write a lot of this sort of explanation in the Sutta explanation nowadays. So if you help with the proofreading, you find that lots of this new information you discover for yourself. All right. So remember, we still need proofreaders. I'm back to translating the suttas. I'm translating Sutta number 6 now in this volume 60. All the long essays are finished. A, B, C, D, E, F. ST 60.1 F, about 300 pages. The proofreading will be probably done in about 4 weeks' time. Because I'm getting one proof a week from this really wonderful proofreader. He's also a copywriter, a PhD in psychology. So it's very helpful. Now we're back to Sutta translation, and there are short suttas. So if you want to proofread them, please let me know. It's really interesting to start off proofreading suttas.
Thank you, Brother Piya.
Okay.
The next question from Brother Charles.
Okay.
Could you explain direct knowing a bit?
Right, that's a good question. Right now, you're listening to me. It's not direct knowing. This is second-hand knowledge. Then again, the information I have, maybe I got it from elsewhere, and I pass it on to you. Then it is third level knowledge, right? So it is not direct knowledge. Whereas direct knowledge, you look at the sutta, you reflect for yourself, and then you understand it, right? So first knowledge, first level is academic learning. Okay, that's like third-hand knowledge. In a sense, now we can say it is third-hand knowledge. But it's not always like that. For example, as you listen, you say, oh, I understand, it's very clear to me now. Oh, that's first-hand knowledge. If you just listen and you keep it there, it's third-hand knowledge. Then you study for yourself. For example, I look at the suttas and I explain it, I understand it for myself. So this is second level, okay? Kind of my own experience, but still I've not fully experienced this thing. I'm not awakened yet. So that is second level. The first level is when you yourself directly know it, you suffer the pain, you've gone through it, and you know what it is, and you can write with that experience of someone who knows exactly what it is because you have experienced it. So technically, you are an awakened person. Otherwise, you experience it for yourself. You know it for yourself. That is direct experience. For example, when you see impermanence for yourself, you lose something precious. And you know what it is like to feel losing something precious. That is a direct experience, a small example. Okay, so you have 3 levels of experiences. The third level, through someone else. Second level, you experience yourself, but I mean, you understand yourself, but without direct experience. And then there is that direct experience, especially knowing the 3 characteristics: anicca, dukkha, anatta, impermanence, suffering, non-self. Usually they apply to one of those 3 characteristics. Okay.
Thank you, Brother Piya. There's no question at the moment.
Right. Just wait a while. Well, once again, the year is ending. How time flies. It's already November. So this is our, this is our 3rd year, so going on to the 4th year of Sutta study, right?
Yes, yes.
So there are some new suttas I've been translating, so we'll probably be studying them too in time. So if you have time and if you are attending this class, I think you should be able to proofread. You don't need to know much Pali. In fact, it's a great way to learn Pali as you proofread, and then basically you're looking at the grammar, you're looking at the numbering of the passages, things like that. Because otherwise, when we read later on, you find there are typos, which could have been corrected. That's the whole idea of proofing. Proofing is not edicting; it's quite different. Huh? So proofing is just these are quite clear errors. For example, there's wrong spelling, or the sequence of the passages are wrong, or basic stuff like that. And you find there are a few people with proofreading, so we help one another in that way. Okay, we're still open for questions. 15 more minutes. Meantime, Ratna, you can take family photo.
Question first, it's a question.
Okay.
There's question from Lee.
Okay.
Please say a little bit more on the Piya Jatika Sutta. Was the action of the husband blameworthy?
Oh, I forgot this Piya Jatika Sutta. Can you just refresh us about this aspect about the husband? Chao Eng?
Lee.
Huh? Yeah, Lee Chao Eng. C.E. Lee.
Yeah, Brother Piya.
Yes.
It's mentioned in your notes that this husband killed the wife.
Sorry, kill the wife?
Later he killed the wife, and later he took his own life.
Oh, and why is that?
Probably because it seems they want to be together in their next life or something like that.
Okay, yeah, I can remember.
So were these two people already enlightened?
The sutta doesn't say they've attained around. I mean, it's unlikely they've attained any level. I don't think the sutta mentions that, right?
No.
Right. So the principle is very clear. Remember towards the end of this sutta, the Channovāda Sutta, the Buddha says that if someone kills himself and he is still reborn, that is blameworthy. So in the case of the Piya Jatika Sutta, if the husband kills the wife, he wants to be together, they are reborn, you see. So from this sutta, the Buddha would not encourage that. I mean, imagine if that was all right. I mean, what kind of religion are we going to become? Husbands and kills their wife? It would be terrible, see? So these are special cases, special stories in Indian culture, which the Buddha does not encourage. It is antisocial. It is not very helpful, not responsible, because the living will have to take care of the bodies, things like that, and it causes a lot of pain and suffering, right? So it's so clear we wouldn't encourage such an action. So in this sense, the husband's action of killing himself is not commendable, it's wrong. Does that help?
Okay, thank you.
I'm answering from what I understand from the present sutta. Okay. We need people to videos on, please, so that Anna can take photos of you all. Okay, any more questions? We still got, we got about 13 minutes.
There's no question in the chat box.
Every new lesson, preparing for a lesson, I go through a bit of agony. I say, oh no, will I be able to teach this sutta? I mean, will it be interesting? It's quite scary sometimes, because I have so much respect for the suttas, and we want to make sure that we are doing it right, and whether audience will find interesting or not. And I'm always surprised by the suttas. There's always something interesting, something deep and moving in the suttas. So it's amazing, the people who put the suttas together, the Buddha's teaching for us, it shows that they are experiencing something really profound in the past. Yeah. Okay, still waiting for, we still have a bit of time. And oh yes, there is an announcement by this professor, by Dr. Julian Lim, right? There's a
Yes, Lim.
sleep clinic. So if you know anyone who has trouble sleeping, you need sleep therapy, then you all are given the discount for this introductory introduction to the
Workshop, introductory
workshop, yeah,
workshop.
through Minding Center, right? So just go to our website,
Telegram.
Telegram, or Facebook. You got to do it at once because I think it's on Wednesday, right?
Next Wednesday,
Next Wednesday, yeah.
on the 15th.
But this is for people in Singapore only.
Father Pierre, there's question from Brother J.H. Cole.
All right.
Is this the only sutta that mentioned about suicide by monk?
I
If there
think,
are others, which sutta? Thank
yeah.
you.
Okay, I've given a list, this other one is Godika.
Wakali Sutta.
No, Wakali is attempted suicide. He did not die because the Buddha saved him. But the other one is Godika Sutta. Okay, Godika S4.23.
Yeah, it's mentioned in the Sutta note.
Yes, on the first page, no? Oh, I did not put the ST number. I should put the ST number here. So I think these are the only two I know. Of course, there are cases of suicide mentioned, but I think these two are the clear-cut ones. But otherwise, the Buddha is against it. There is a case of the few monks, they started killing themselves because they were taught this very difficult meditation on the body. So they felt disgust towards the body and they killed themselves. After that, the Buddha made a rule that they should not do that. It is under Parajika, the background story to Parajika 3. All this is in your first page of your Sutta notes at the bottom. Okay, about 8 more minutes to go. Any questions? You can ask general question also. There is also in the study notes, there's a photograph there of a monk called Ñāṇavīra. He has some personal issues, emotional issues, and he killed himself. And he wrote a quite dramatic note before that. He claims that he's attained stream winning, but he felt so guilty about himself. He kind of decided to let go of life. So it was quite controversial. It became quite a celebrity after that. It's section 6.2, you can read about him. Yeah? An English monk, Ñāṇavīra, 1920 to 1965. Okay, we have about 5 more minutes. Any more questions?
There's a question from Ryan Gore.
Okay.
Yeah. Recalling the monks who burned themselves as protest against brutality during the Vietnam War.
Yes.
It's a statement actually.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, this one is suicide by a monk during the Ngodindium's time. I remember those days. I wrote something about this. Now, this is a Mahayana monk. Okay, so this Mahayana monk, they invoke the Lotus Sutra. So it's a different system. Actually, they use this story, you know, a myth. The story goes there is this Bodhisattva. Now, these are not real beings. These are stories. This Bodhisattva took perfume oil all his life, so his body became fragrant. Okay, these are stories, remember? And then after that, he burned himself as an offering to the Buddha. That's the story. But you must understand, all these stories are told in symbolic language. So there is a play on the word dhyayati, from which we get the word dhyana or jhana, because jhana also means to burn. So the real meaning of this story is that this monk meditated as out of respect to the Buddha. Yeah, but the story is symbolic, metaphorical. So the word dhyayati, the word jhana, can also be interpreted as burning. But this Vietnam monk is a political situation. It's a very difficult situation. And the Catholics were in power. They were very powerful. Ngodindiam and the wife, they were mocking the Buddhists. They didn't allow the Buddhists to celebrate Wesak or use the Buddhist flag and so on. So they were promoting Catholicism. And it came to such an intolerant situation that the Buddhists normally are peaceful. But because the Buddhists were so badly persecuted, this monk decided, because the monks are non-violent, he decided to offer himself, kill himself, as a protest against the violence and persecution of the Catholics against the Buddhists. So it is a very shameful history in the Catholic Church history. And so he burned himself. That, of course, created a lot of tremors in the country. And of course, Ngodindiam regime collapsed after that. And he killed himself. He was not the only one. I think there were a few others. So I would say he's a very brave man to sacrifice himself. So it's a political move. I mean, who am I to say it's a wrong Buddhist thing to do? I mean, we can see here and give all this judgment and interpretation. But this person, this monk who sacrificed himself, he was at wit's end. He doesn't know what to do. You see, what can he do to express the pains and agony of the Buddhists? So his statement basically is that if we do not have freedom, we might as well die. I mean, you have this famous saying, even in America, they give us liberty or give us death. So you see this monk, instead of killing others, he would kill himself. So this is not something which can be done regularly. It's a unique event in the history of the world. Of course, for the Vietnamese, it's very special. And it shows that the Buddhists should be respected. Do not push the Buddhists too hard, because there will be surprises. There will be consequences. So here's an example where you find this monk offered himself for peace. So it's quite a, what shall I say, earth-shaking, a great effort. It's a political effort, of course, right? So like I said, it's not always easy to answer religious questions, right? We can be idealistic, but there are realities out there which we also have to deal with. So we got to take the stand, whether we're talking about early Buddhism, and then we have to also understand the real situation out there in the world, right? So we have these two aspects to deal with. So there's no perfect answer here, okay? So imagine if you're in that situation, what you would do, right? So this is a thing we have to consider. We have to be realistic in this sense. So of course, the Buddha could do a lot of things because he was Buddha. He has also certain powers, and people could not kill him, you know. So he could do a lot of wonderful things, prevent the war between his relatives, the Sakyas and the Koliyas, for example. Okay, I hope that helps. No? I wrote something about this monk, I think, so somewhere in my 20 years of writing, somewhere that you have to look it up into the index about Vietnam.
Thank you, Brother Piya.
Okay,
There are
yes.
two questions from Sister Helene.
Okay.
Brother Piya, can you please describe a bit more about how the Venerable Ñāṇavīra becomes celebrity after his death?
Oh,
Is it
okay.
because of the dramatic note that he wrote?
Yes.
And also, did Venerable Ñāṇavīra explain how he identified himself that he had attained the Sotapanna?
Okay. Not much is known about Ñāṇavīra except his writings, and I've given a summary of him in this introduction here, with this photograph also. Okay, so those of you interested, you read section 6.2. There are technical issues here, you know, because remember what the Buddha says, that if someone kills himself and is reborn, that is blameworthy. All right. So in that sense, Ñāṇavīra's suicide is blameworthy. But people are so moved by his courage because he had sexual problems, so he couldn't deal with it. So he felt as a monk, he should not have those kind of feelings, you know. So he decided to end his life. And he thought that he has attained stream winning also. So after that, he killed himself. But I think he missed the point about this, what the Buddha said at the end of the sutta. But like I said, here again, you know, I'm just making this comfortable statement from my room. And here you have this monk who's really struggling with himself, right? So we have that situation also. So you find a lot of Westerners who read about him, they were kind of impressed by his courage, right? So I leave it to you to read up on him in the summary I've written and think by yourself. You might get some of your own ideas. He has his own views, and there are other monks who don't agree with him, like Bhikkhu Bodhi and so on. So they do kind of reply his ideas. So these are debates between monks. You may have your own ideas, right? So like I said, these are some struggles that Western monks have, and they think for themselves. So it's very interesting to study those very special events, right? But remember, these are not daily situations, so don't worry too much about them. But they're worth reading. They're good as lessons in life. Okay. All right. So do read up 6.2 about this Ñāṇavīra. Okay. All right. Looks
Thank
like
you, Brother Piya.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Sister Exim. So it's time to close our study. I'm happy if people ask questions, right? So this is a time when we reflect on this deep Dharma. We don't always have the answer to all the questions, to everything in life. Our task is to think for ourselves, do what needs to be done, have the courage to take that action to benefit as much people as possible, and to keep to the teaching as much as possible too. In many ways, we are fortunate because we are living in near ideal situation in our lives. We're able to gather together here to listen to the suttas, to practice meditation, keep the precepts for these 2 hours at least. Bearing that in mind, may you all be well and happy by all this goodness we have done together. This is a group karma, good karma done together. May we continue to be happy and to be able to listen to the suttas together happily, comfortably, and with great benefit. Send your kind thoughts to your loved ones, people important to you, your teachers and others, that they too may come close to the Buddha Dhamma. And let us now show our gratitude to the 3 jewels, the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami. Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.